Hey guys, welcome back to Sense or Sense. My name is Evan. I'm coming to you today on a recommendation from a buddy of mine who wanted me to talk about some credit cards and credit card rewards. So I decided to give kind of an overview or a high level overview of some of my favorite rewards programs and basically some understanding of my favorite cards right now out there. This won't get into super detail on how to, go ahead and redeem those points or anything like that, but ultimately I wanted to talk about each one of the major carriers out there. So you've got American Express, you got Capital One, you got Citi Card, and you got Chase. Those are kind of the major four. And a lot of people like one or the other or favor one or the other. I personally have found that all of them have good benefits. I have a card from all four of them, multiple cards from all four of them actually. And it really depends on what you're spending on. It also depends on what it is that you're trying to accomplish and what are you trying to get out of the deal? Are you trying to get travel points? Are you trying to get cash back? I have a few cash back cards, but most of my cards, or at this point, are points based, miles based. Not a big believer in the airlines cards just because they seem to really cater towards a single airline most of the time, and I don't find myself flying a specific airline all the time. I go on a lot of international trips, I go on a lot of business international trips, using business class, using points, things like that, and so I don't really have an affinity towards one airline or the other. So this is going to pretty much cover the basic cards that I have from each issuer and talk a little bit about them and which ones I think, what are the benefits of each. So let's start out with American Express. American Express, over the years, I've had pretty much most of their regular cards, ranging from their American Express Platinum to their American Express Blue Business Cash to their American Express Business Platinum, American Express Business Gold, several of their Hilton cards, and another couple of cards mixed in there. Ultimately, I like the American Express system. They seem to have a very good point redemption system. They seem to allow for you to customize a lot of different points, spend categories that might be beneficial for you, especially on the gold business card, as well as the individual platinum card. Most of these cards, the platinums are tailored towards travel. So if you're not a big traveler, it probably isn't going to benefit you. They also have what they call a coupon book attached to the American Express Platinum card. And that's a bunch of different options that you can utilize or not utilize, where you get credits for certain things and you don't get, and if you utilize those things, it's a great model. However, most people don't utilize all the different potential credits, so it's not the most cost-effective card at $695 annual fee for the Amex Platinum. There are a lot of benefits if you're, like I said, if you're traveling, you're going to you're using a lot of direct airlines, booking them directly with the airlines. Then you can get 5x points on the Amex Platinum card. You can also get access to a lot of ability to basically transact and get rid of those points, or redeem those points via a lot of different air carriers and a lot of different hotels. But that's a topic for a different day at this point. I like the Amex Business Gold card also because it allows you to choose two categories that you spend the most in, which can be gas, and as well as grocery, as well as several other options that are beneficial, and they can rotate. You can actually, depending on your spend each month. So if you have a lot of spend in gas and grocery one month, then those are your two categories. You can ultimately use it for a couple of other categories on a different month. And those are 4x bonuses on those two top categories. So those are huge benefits. And I found them to be incredibly useful for redemptions, going in the past and going forward. I think that they're going to be very beneficial. Those are the main ones that I'm using right now. I also use an Amex Hilton business card, and that one was recently devalued. They've taken away the free nights for the Hilton business card, and I don't know if I'll end up keeping it or not. It does earn pretty well on regular everyday spend. It earns 5x Hilton points, which are worth a lot less than 1% typical, but 5x Hilton points can translate into a pretty good redemption. So that's also a possibility. So those are the ones I use right now. I've also used, like I said, the Blue Business Plus card for 2 times membership rewards points, which is what AMEX issues. So we'll talk about some specifics in some future videos. Let's move on to Capital One. Capital One has a few cards that are really beneficial. I have several, but the one that I use the most and the one that I find the most beneficial is the Venture X card. I have the Venture X card because it has a $395 annual fee, and you get a $300 travel credit that you can book directly through their online portal. It's very beneficial. They immediately credit you within a few days usually for that $300 credit through their portal, and then that leaves you with just $95 annual fee. That $95 annual fee is at each anniversary you get 10,000 bonus points. 10,000 bonus points are worth at least $100 in cash back, but I found that I can generally cash them in on travel or some other some other airline or hotel for something more than $1 per point. 1 cent per point. And so, generally speaking, the card has $395 annual fee. However, I find that I get a lot more value than $395. You also get a credit for global entry TSA pre-check. That's very beneficial. You can get that once every 4 years, which is worth $100. You can also get that on the AMEX Platinum. I forgot to mention that as well. But that just adds additional value to the Capital One Venture X card. And I find it to be the most useful card in their whole setup right now. A lot of people like their Saver card for restaurants. I don't have it, but it's beneficial if you want to combine it with the Venture X. They both earn the same points structure. And the nice thing about the Venture X card is it's 2x points on everyday purchases. It doesn't matter what the limit is. You don't have to think about what category it is. It's 2x across the board, so it's very easy to earn on and not have to think much about. Let's talk a little bit about the next card issuer, Citi. So Citi has been in my wallet a long time. I think I just looked the other day. In 2007 was my first Citi card that I got. I've had their Premier card for a long time. I've recently downgraded that. They refused to issue a credit for the $95 annual fee any longer. I've been getting it for several years. When I initially signed up in 2007, they didn't have an annual fee, so they've been issuing me credits every once in a while for that annual fee, but they refused to do it this year. So I've just decided I'm not going to keep it anymore. I've actually downgraded it to what they call their double cash card. Their double cash card has no annual fee, and it earns essentially 2.2 Citi thank you points. They call their points thank you points per dollar spent, unlimited. And it's very simple. It's very much like the Venture X and the earnings as far as 2 points per dollar on spend. Citi doesn't really have quite as many transfer partners for redemptions, but they also have some, I think they have some interesting cards with their certain cards that are out there. They have flexibility. They have several cards that you can choose a category for $500 and spend, and then you can spend say $500 on groceries, and that card will essentially get 5x on that particular category for that month. And it depends on what you want to spend the money on. So some months you can spend up to $500 on gas, some months $500 on grocery. It's one category, and it can be beneficial. So I probably won't use the double cash a whole lot, but it is a good backup card in the place of the old Premier card. And then, of course, Citi also is the one that issues the Costco card, which gives you the 4% cash back, not points, cash back on Costco gas, as well as 2% cash back at Costco. It's one of the only cards out there that you can get a pretty significant discount on Costco branded gas, and it's got no annual fee. I've used it in the past. I've since started to use my Venture X card for the most part when I go to Costco, because they require you to use a Visa card. So I use my Venture X card, which is a Visa card, and get 2x there instead of 2% cash back. I generally value most points at between 1.50 and 2 cents per point. So if I'm getting 2 points per dollar on my purchases, say at Costco, so I spend $250, I'm getting 500 points. I value that as much as 1,000, as much as 2 cents per point. So that would give me essentially $10 on a $250 purchase. That's about 4% cash equivalent. That's why I use the Venture X card versus the Costco card for the purchases at Costco. So those are pretty much the Citi cards that I've used and find beneficial. Let's head on into the last issuer, Chase. And Chase is a juggernaut. There are a lot of cards that Chase issues, and some of them are really beneficial. Some of them I know nothing about. But the big one that everybody seems to talk about is the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the Chase Sapphire the Chase Sapphire Reserve is the big one that most people talk about, and I actually have it. It's got a pretty big annual fee of $550, but you get a $300 travel credit that's against any travel. It doesn't have to be through their portal. I find that very beneficial, and you also get 3x back on dining, 3x back on travel, and travel includes parking, tolls, transit, airlines, boats, anything that rental cars. And so it's a very broad card. It also has a lot of great protections, travel benefit protections. So I find those very useful as well. I generally get my $550 worth very easily with that card. So I've kept it in my wallet a long time. That's the big Chase card that I use right now. Besides the Freedom Flex card, there is the Freedom Flex card is a great card. It's got rotating 5% cash back equivalent categories each quarter. So each quarter might have, this quarter is restaurants, Amazon, hotels. Those are the 3 big ones. And you earn basically 5x what they call ultimate rewards. UR points is what they call them. And they're worth 1 cent per point. So it's at least 5% cash back in those 5% categories. But again, I value my points at least 2 cents per point most of the time. So on the rotating categories, each quarter, it's up to $1,500 in spend. I'm essentially getting the equivalent of 5 UR points valued at 2 cents per point. So that's essentially the 10% cash equivalent back on up to $1,500 worth of spend. So that's on Amazon. This quarter is on Amazon, restaurants, and hotels. That's, to me, it's a very easy category to max out each 3-month period of time. In the first quarter of this year, it was grocery stores, and grocery stores was a very easy category to max out as well. So these points are really, really beneficial, and I actually like Chase's Ultimate Rewards points the most at this point, I think, just because they have a slight edge. They have the ability to book Hyatt hotels, and I really love a lot of the Hyatt hotels out there, and you can get some really great redemptions. I'm actually going to Hawaii this summer and staying with my family at the Grand Wailea, which has been a dream of mine since I was a little boy, and I used quite a few points to do that, via Hilton actually. But there is another resort that we're staying at too that's a Hyatt redemption that I use my Ultimate Rewards points, and those Ultimate Rewards points are very, very valuable. So those are just some of the cards, the 2 major cards that I use with Chase at this point. I'd be interested to find out what everybody else thinks about Chase and American Express, Citi, and Capital One. And please leave a comment down below on anything that you might want to know about, anything that we've talked about today, or another card that I may not be aware of that be very beneficial for my viewers to see. I appreciate you all viewing. Hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll be back very soon with another video. Thanks, everybody.